Brett here, and I'll be ranking the top 10 zombies maps of all time. Number 10, Shangri-La. Now, this may be a controversial pick to most people, but in my opinion, it's a lot better than people give it credit for. When you look up the name Shangri-La, it comes with an imaginary paradise on Earth, and when you look at this map, that's a perfect interpretation of it. The wonder weapon is the Baby Maker, which essentially is a baby maker. Quite literally, it makes zombies babies and it shrinks them into baby versions, and then you can run right through them or shoot them with any weapon and they'll die. This makes the gameplay extremely fun considering it's a unique weapon, but also just fun. The map's Easter egg requires 4 players, unfortunately, and requires a ton of teamwork, but with the right group of people, it can be a really fun time. The mini-bosses are the Napalm and Shrieker Zombie, which can be very difficult to kill, but can also be used to your advantage. The Napalm will leave behind fire, which can kill zombies for seconds later, and the Shrieker will have almost a thunder gun effect, blowing zombies away once it's killed. The map overall is extremely hard and really close-quartered, but in my opinion, this is a good thing because it creates a learning curve and has a ton of room for replayability and room for improvement. Number 9, Call of the Dead. I love snow maps, and Call of the Dead is one that utilizes its setting extremely well. It doesn't do amazing at anything, really, but does everything decently well. For example, the wonder weapons are overall okay. The VR-11 sucks in solo, but in co-op can be used as an insta-kill for your teammates. And the Scavenger is a really satisfying weapon to use, but isn't all that good. The map's layout is extremely solid. It has a central area with quick revive, a box location, and a pack-a-punch spot. And then to the right, you have a very large boat with several different stories where you can turn on the power, 2 Easter egg steps, hit the box, and more. And then to the left, you have the lighthouse, which is where you'll get most of your perks, not including Jug and Quick Revive. Also do a lot more Easter egg steps and pack-a-punch your weapon when the lighthouse light is down on it. One thing this map does extremely well is make all playable areas useful. All locations on the map are really frequently used. For example, I find myself running around to the lighthouse, the boat, and the central spot almost every single round. The Easter egg is one of the first ever created, so it's really easy, but it's still fairly solid. It's enjoyable and can hold its own. George is the mini-boss, which casually follows you around all game and may be annoying since it keeps you from camping or training, but he does add a challenge to the game that it desperately needs. Overall, its atmosphere and feeling are really good. I like Call of the Dead. Number 8, Ancient Evil. This is a map I've recently come to enjoy for what it is. I'm not the biggest Black Ops 4 Zombies fan because a lot of the maps are really hard to get into, considering there's thousands of locations for every part and so many necessary things you gotta do to set up or even get to a pack-a-punch. But Ancient Evil does a lot of things right. My favorite thing about the map, I think, is the atmosphere and vibe it gives. Being in Greece, it really touches the ancient Greek gods and goddesses vibe right. The visuals are so spot on. The saturation, the color, it's just beautiful, especially once you get to Pack-a-Punch. The mini-boss is alright, the shield is unique and pretty cool, the Easter egg is good, and the boss fight is awesome. You get to fight Pegasus and then Perseus. But besides the visuals, my favorite part is the gauntlets. They're so unique and perfect feeling to this map. The Charon one is personally my favorite, but each of the 4, similarly to the staffs and bows, is unique. But I think between the staffs, bows, and gauntlets, I think I'd have to say the gauntlets are the coolest. Unfortunately, a really major thing keeping this map from being higher on the list is the fact that it's on the Black Ops 4 engine. It really is sad because if this were on Black Ops 3, I don't see why this wouldn't be a top 3 map ever, but it is what it is. Number 7, Zetsubo no Shima. In my opinion, by far the most underrated map in all of Zombies. This map balances perfectly the ability to be a casual and just play and have fun, but also it's perfect for really hardcore players that like a lot to do. This map brought a ton of new things to Zombies and innovated a bunch, and one of my favorite things is its atmosphere. It's extremely dark green, it's mysterious, lush, and frightening. The Skull of Nansapoi is the specialist weapon on the map, and it's one of the best in Black Ops 3. In my opinion, it is the best. You're able to mesmerize zombies or kill them, but it's also a super integral part to completing the Easter egg. The Easter egg is essentially just setting up on the map. It's just getting Pack-a-Punch open, getting the wonder weapon, upgrading the wonder weapon, and it has 2 boss fights, one being a giant spider and the other being Takeo, which is very storyline integrated and gives one of the best cutscenes of all time. But I'm not even a storyline guy, I don't really care about it, but it's still pretty cool. There's also plants on the map which can be used to your advantage and gives you the ability to bring you back to life, give power-ups, parts for the Easter egg, or distract zombies, allowing you to do your challenges. The KT-4 is the wonder weapon on the map and is another liquid shooting wonder weapon like the Liquefire from Die Rise. And this time it's green, and when upgraded it turns to light blue. It's an infinite damage weapon, which is extremely good, but it's also needed for the completion of the Easter egg. If you can get past this map's long setup, you have a beautiful map with tons of things to do and a lot of fun. I'd really give this map a chance because it has a ton to offer. Also, another thing it has in Zombies that hadn't really happened before is the ability to swim. Number 6, Buried. I love the vibe this map gives off, like an underground, lost, old western town. There's nothing like it. From the addition of Leroy, essentially your ally, which helps you not only open barriers around the map, but can do special things like kill zombies, keep the box in one location, and more. Also, the chalks, where you can draw your own gun wall buys. Each one you draw gives 1,000 points and allows you to put any gun wall buy where you want it, which is extremely generous and helps you set up on the map even faster. The Paralyzer and Ray Gun Mark II were also introduced. With the Mark II being brought back several times, it's become a staple in Zombies. But with the Paralyzer, it's unique to Buried. It's a really fun one, but also really good. It allows you to fly around barriers and kill zombies whenever you want. It has infinite ammo as long as you give it time to recharge. The unique round-changing music and fire sale pickup and just overall vibe and atmosphere this map gives off is unmatchable in my opinion. It just feels so different and I really dig that. Number 5, Gorod Krovi. Originally, I didn't care for this map at all, but the more I played it, the more I enjoyed it. It's one I've come to realize has a lot to do. For example, the shield is amazing and can be upgraded. The specialist is a literal dragon and you can unleash it to get Easter egg parts or kill zombies, allowing you to use a literal dragon by your side, and if you want, you can unleash it too. The Ray Gun Mark III came out on this map, which isn't the greatest, but before round 40, it's a really good. It can keep you alive and kill lots of zombies. It's also really unique and a cool twist on the ray gun theme. The PPSH was brought back, which is an old classic, which nobody wouldn't want back. Everyone loves the PPSH. It's just a staple in Call of Duty. But in my opinion, the map's 2 greatest assets is the fact that it has dragons. As the boss fight, your method of getting to Pack-a-Punch in the form of your specialist, it creates a feeling that this map is just so badass. It keeps things exciting and fun throughout the game, even from the very second you start up Gorod Krovi with the cutscene. The second asset Gorod Krovi benefits off the most is its Easter egg. It's really difficult and essentially there's like 5 parts to it, each with different challenges. And the challenges are really difficult, but also there's a learning curve to each, but they're also not too tedious. So it strikes that perfect balance between difficulty, but also not being tedious. Also, the boss fight is, in my opinion, the best Treyarch Zombies has to offer, where you fight a dragon and then Ultimus Nikolai in a mech suit. Overall, just a really cool Zombies map. Number 4, Mob of the Dead. This for a time was my favorite map ever. I feel like from here to number 1, they're all number 1, but for the sake of the video, I kind of have to give each one their individual ranking. So you could think of this as like 1D. Similarly to a lot of the maps I've mentioned on this list, this map's atmosphere is just incredible. Being set on one of the world's most famous prisons at the time on Alcatraz Island, this map uses San Francisco's assets. Being on the Golden Gate Bridge, for example, extremely well. Just perfection, really. It's so cool how they tied the real event that played out with the fictional mobsters in this case, and how they introduced this to them and made them all actually interesting. It's just so cool and unique. I've personally been to Alcatraz and this map does so many things perfectly, like the cafeteria, the showers, but they've added their own twist which makes it even cooler. It's very gory and gives off a very scary feeling. The map's layout is pretty damn solid, with every room being used almost constantly. From the tunnels to the docks to the Golden Gate Bridge to the actual prison, everything is being used constantly. It's generally a pretty close-quartered map, which makes it really hard, but personally I love that because there's always room for improvement, like I've mentioned on Shangri-La. The map's wonder weapon being the Blundergat Gat has several upgrades, whether you want the Vitriolic Withering, or the Acid Gat, or the Sweeper. Each variant is very good and can, for example, save you if you're in a corner with a Monkey Bomb effect, or kill zombies till a later round. You can't go wrong with the Shotgun Wonder Weapon. Also, the story is tied in really well with this map. I don't really particularly get into the story, but you can't help but notice how cool it is in this map. Overall, the map's feeling and atmosphere is just so spot on, and how well they did it considering it was based off real events in an actual real life prison is just beyond me. They did an amazing job on this map. Also, there are so many little things that were really cool, like no quick revive and instead you have afterlife, and also the introduction of the perk Electric Cherry, but also just down to the zombies. They visually looked really cool being like literal prisoners. Number 3, Shadows of Evil. Also could be my 1C. This map is absolutely incredible. The Wonder Weapon fits the aesthetic perfectly. Being in Morgue City, there's essentially a corrupted city where there's apothecans flying in the sky, and, well, the Wonder Weapon is the Apothecan Servant, which is basically an alien that shoots black hole portals that suck the zombies away, and it's easily the best Wonder Weapon of all time. There's basically 6 different areas to this map, with there being 2 central locations, basically up top in the city, where it connects to all of the other 4 parts of the map, which correspond to all 4 characters of the crew, which we play as. Each one has rituals which set up the central portion, where Pack-a-Punch is, which is like underneath the central. There's 2 middle basically, but you have to take portals into where the Pack-a-Punch room actually is. This map introduced to us 3 mini bosses, all of which I actually like. I think they're all pretty solid. The Margwa is a really tanky boss, which has 3 mouths that open up and you gotta shoot them once at a time. And once you kill the Margwa, you drop a power up, which is really nice and it feels rewarding. The other 2 are the Parasites and Meatballs, which are just like Hellhounds, and they're basically free rounds and free max ammos. Shadows of Evil also introduced to us the Lil Arnies. As we know them, pretty much they're like Monkey Bombs, but way better. They last longer and can kill zombies infinitely. The Easter egg is a little bit lacking in my opinion because you need 4 players, but also it didn't really have that nice of like a satisfying ending. It just kind of was what it was. And most of it is just like upgrading your specialist weapon, which is just a sword. And you actually need 4 players to complete it, which I think is pretty lame. That's something that maybe could pass in like a Black Ops 1 with like an original Easter egg, but we're in Black Ops 3 and that's something that should be designed better in my opinion. Shadows of Evil really is just like a perfect map. They really just didn't do anything wrong. At this point in the video in these maps, with how good they are, you can't really go objectively anymore because they're all objectively so similar and so good that it's just my subjective opinion right now. Number 2, Der Eisendrache. Set in an Austrian castle, it has a phenomenal snowy environment. It also has 4 wonder weapons, being the bows, and each of which has its own unique upgrading process, which isn't too complicated, and hits that fine line between too much and perfect. Each bow is really cool, but my favorite is the lightning, which is easily a top 5 wonder weapon in my opinion, and it does infinite damage. The Panzer made its return and is extremely tanky and hard to kill, but it offers a really good challenge, which I think this map needs. The Easter egg is also just the perfect difficulty. Its quest isn't too hard, and it's just the perfect length, I think. It also offered the very first boss fight in Treyarch Zombies, and it was a really good one. The map does movement extremely well too, with wonder spheres and teleporters all around the map. It also added the Ragnarok DG4s, which were amazing, and were really needed for the completion of the Easter egg. And the Pack-a-Punch camo is amazing. This map just did so many little things right without doing just about anything wrong. Der Eisendrache is just a phenomenal map. Number 1, Origins. This is the best map in my opinion, and it has the most to offer to zombies. I can't really talk about it for too long because it could be very long, and that would get boring really fast. But in a nutshell, the World War scene is incredible. The trenches, it's just a very unique feeling. You have 4 staffs with each of their quests and upgrading processes being not only completely different, but very action and quest packed. with so many steps to each. Also, the Easter egg, which is very chunky and has tons to do. You have Agartha, or the crazy place, where a lot of things go down and it offers a unique twist on the map. There's the 6 generators claiming each of their own locations on the map, which have perks associated with them, and you need to get all 6 of them to unlock Pack-a-Punch. There's just infinite replayability. There's something you can always improve on in this map. That's why like speedrunners are just never done with Origins, because it just goes on forever. You can't ever get bored on this map. It's just Zombies icon to me. It also introduced the Premise crew, which were constantly brought back and are probably the most popular amongst the franchise's fans of the game. Origins took risks and made the right ones. Overall, it's just, in my opinion, the best map. There's not much else to it. Thanks for watching.